How's it going, everybody? My name is Rob, and welcome to the Dirty Water Red Sox podcast presented by guybostonsports and Grandstand Productions. I am your host, Rob Anglin, with my co-host, Italy Jet, Noah, and Dev. How are we doing today, boys? First episode. Are we ready to talk about the Sox? Because we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yes.
We do.
Much to talk about.
More. So much that we can't fit this all, man. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about.
First, I just want to say thank you so much to Guy Boston Sports for giving us the opportunity to have the podcast on here. And also, if you guys are seeing this on Grandstand Productions as well, I know Justin wants me to give us a shout out real quick and let you guys know what we're all about. So Grandstand Productions, just like Guy Boston Sports makes all Boston content, we make strictly Red Sox content on our YouTube channel. Talk about the Red Sox, make videos. We had a podcast. You guys might recognize me or Dev from Inside the Sox and Gino as well. We're bringing back the original crew with Noah, who has a very insightful talk about the Red Sox. I'm going to go around the table and I'm just going to do introductions because you guys got to get to know us here on Guy Boston Sports. So my name's Rob. I'm 24. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I've been a Red Sox fan since the day I was born. And for people who don't know, I'm the biggest curse to the Red Sox. I go to games too much, and the Red Sox are 3-10 of the last 13 games. But no, I love going to Fenway. I live pretty close to the stadium, and I grew up loving baseball. And it's a big family thing, and it's turned into an obsession. It's turned into a lifestyle for me. And I'm happy to say that I got to see the Red Sox win 4 World Series in my lifetime, so that's very good. Let's go to Italy Jet. Italy Jet, tell us about your lifestyle and what got you into the Red Sox.
Man, I am public enemy number 1 in my family because they're Cardinal fans and I'm a Red Sox fan. So immediately I became public enemy number 1 in my Italian family. I'm Italy Jet. I'm Italian. I love Red Sox. Manny Ramirez is the reason why I became a Red Sox fan, along with Poppy and Pedro Martinez. That's me. I'm Italy Jet, baby. Dirty water.
Italy Jet, my Italian brother. I'm Italian as well. We're going to send it to Noah. Noah, tell us a little bit about yourself and why got you into the Red Sox.
How we doing, guys? My name is Noah. My kind of fandom for the Red Sox is kind of unlike others, in the sense that none of my family are Red Sox fans. I live in Pennsylvania. I don't live in Massachusetts. And I actually became a Red Sox fan when just watching the 2013 World Series. I saw the Red Sox win it, and I've just been a fan of the team ever since, really. Through the highs, the lows, I've just kind of been there through it all. So, diehard Sox fan for about 10 years now. That's not going to change anytime soon. So, hope to get to know you guys better well. Let's go. Excited to be here.
That 2013 team was a special team with the Beards. It was so special for the city of Boston after the bombing. We got Dev here. Dev, tell us about yourself. What do you got you into being a Red Sox fan?
What's going on, guys? I'm Devin Telgani, huge Red Sox fan here. I've been to a no-hitter at Fenway Park. I've been to Clay Buchholz's no-hitter. That was amazing just to witness that. You know, Nick Markakis striking out on a lovely curveball from Clay Buchholz, and then David Ortiz gave Clay Buchholz a bloody nose right after that, which was just fantastic, amazing. You know, I've loved the Red Sox ever since I was born out of my mom's stomach. Boom, I was just like, yep, Red Sox fan. I love David Ortiz, you know, Pedro Martinez ever since he called the Yankees his daddy. He's been one of my second all-time favorite Red Sox. You know, Louis Tion, you know, I could name all the Red Sox players that I love, but, you know, through the highs and the lows, you know, I've seen a couple World Series here and there, been to a few playoff games, and I still love this team, no matter how much stress they caused for me the past couple of years.
Oh, I agree. The past couple of years has been a roller coaster for Red Sox Nation, and we're going to talk about this Toronto series in a bit, but we're going to start off with the deadline. The trade deadline just happened over the week, and there was a lot to go down. The Boston Red Sox made a couple of moves, and the move that stapled their deadline was Luis Urias, who honestly has been an amazing pickup for the Red Sox. And we're just going to go around the table, talk about the deadline. What was your favorite trade obviously we're going to talk about what we like about Urias, but we're going to talk about our favorite trade that went down during the deadline. I'll start with Italy Jet, and I'll go around the table.
All right. I really, really like it. I really like that. I think he's going to be better than Arroyo. I think he's going to be better than even Shang and even, Reyes eventually. I think he brings a certain kind of spark. As what we've all talked about in the past, he did really well in WBC. He did really well with Mexico. I think he's need a change in scenery, and he's going to be maybe next year's starter eventually. I know Noah and Rob have talked about that before as well. As far as the pitcher, I mean, he even when he pitched against San Francisco, we all know like they kicked their butt. He kicked their butt. So I hope maybe he can turn it around eventually. I still want to get a starting pitcher and at least a reliever in there, but I'm disappointed with that. But with these two guys, I think we're on the up and up a little bit, but it's going to be hard. Our division's very hard. So I wish we could have done more.
I agree. With this division, no team is under 500 right now, and it's been a battle since the beginning of the season. No, I'm going to go to you. What do you think about this trade for Urias, and what do you think about the deadline?
Absolutely. So the bigger pickup of the two of Jovera and Urias was obviously Urias. He's a guy that, he's had success with the bat in the past. I think 2020, 2021, he's been really good. And even last year, I think he had a pretty good year. Been struggling a little bit this year. Couldn't really find it. Milwaukee decided to move on from him. But I've been saying it ever since they, moved to this guy. This guy's not here to sit in AAA. This guy's going to be the starting second baseman in 2024. As for the pitcher in Jovera, you look at his peripherals. He's got good stuff. Control obviously a little shaky. Real two-pitch pitcher, sinker slider. Had a decent ERA coming over from San Francisco, but as we've seen in the first couple of games, doesn't really have the stuff today. Really struggled. I think it was like 3 hits, 2 walks, 5 earned runs, and just got 4 outs. So just really bad stuff. Don't know if he's going to be a long-term contributor, but yeah, really like the move for Urias. Gave up a guy that really was never going to feature on the major league squad in Bradley Blaylock. But I like the move for Urias. He'll be the 2024 starting second baseman, and he just helps the team right now. So, good move.
He's been looking pretty good at the plate, too, in the past couple of games at Fenway. Dev, what do you think about this trade deadline? How are you feeling about the Red Sox pickups?
It was a very, shocking move. It was like a last-second trade deadline move for, Chaim Bloom and the Sox. I like the move. It was a very, mediocre move. He was a great second baseman for the Milwaukee Brewers, and I think he's going to be a great contributor to this Boston Red Sox team. He made a few diving plays this weekend. Got his first RBI in the Red Sox uniform. But the pitcher from the Giants, another mediocre move. He has some speed here and there with his fastballs, with his curveballs here and there. But I was really expecting us to go after more of a starter pitcher. Like I wouldn't have mind Scherzer, Verlander, maybe like a Dylan Cease or Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals. I just wish Chaim Bloom cared more about the Red Sox pitching staff than he did with the acquisitions of the last second trade deadline move.
I agree, and I think I honestly agree with the Luis Urias thing. I think he's been a stud. In Milwaukee, he's proved he can hit 20-plus home runs. And, the defense was a little shaky in 21. I think he had 21 errors or something at second base. But he can figure it out, and he's been looking really good at Fenway. For Jovera, I think he does have good stuff, but he needs to figure it out with the command. It feels like he's just chucking the ball at the strike zone, just praying it goes into the strike zone or praying that the hitter swing. He had a rough game in San Francisco and a rough game today against the Blue Jays. It looked like kind of very, very shaky. But for the trade deadline as a whole, I think the Red Sox, there were rumors about that they were going to trade Justin Turner to the Marlins last second, but the deal went off. Time pulled the plug. And then there was a rumor about Verlander. And then also there was a trade on the table that AJ Preller of the Padres said no to acquiring Blake Snell. Red Sox would have gave us Ceddanne Rafaela and Roman Anthony, who are our 2 and 3 prospects in our system. And I'm very glad that trade didn't go down, because that would have screwed the whole. You think people are mad at Chaim Bloom right now? If he made that trade, he's big on harvesting prospects. Imagine. Red Sox fans would be happy we got Blake Snell, but on the other hand, it'd be like, okay, you're talking about building the farm, but then you're trading our top prospects. So it'd be like a 50-50 situation with that. Now, going past the deadline and the Red Sox moves, we're going to talk about this Toronto series that just went down. A terrible sweep at home. I know entering the series, we were 7-0 against the Blue Jays this year. And I don't know what happened at Fenway Park. This was a must-win series, by the way, for the Red Sox. This could have got them back in the wild card race. They could have been tied with Toronto in that wild card race. And it just was like, since game 1, Paxton didn't have his stuff. But we're going to go around the table. I'm going to go around and talk about what's going on with this series, because this series, there's a lot to unpack. And we're going to get into a lot more. There's a little underlying stuff that happened in the clubhouse, but we're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to start with Dev now, and I'm going to go around the table. Tev, tell me what you think about this Toronto series that just went down.
Man, it was just not the way Red Sox fans wanted it to go. Getting beaten 7-3 first game, 5-4 yesterday afternoon, and then the absolute beatdown of a 13-1, defeat. It was just like, do the Red Sox even want to be in the playoffs? It's like they just basically pooped the bed and it was like, all right, you know what? We're going to lose this series, and these next 10 games, I'm hoping that we go 9-10. But it was just like Reese McGuire is like the one person that I'm upset about. I don't know if you blame the third base coach more or if you blame Reese McGuire because he was, pointing at the ball thinking it was over the green monster for a home run, but it was like short of the track. But, he's a major league baseball player. Like, you should know how many outs there are in a game. 1, 2, 0. Communication is key in sports and in baseball too. That's what you have to have. Like, look at the first base coach or look at the green monster and see how many outs there are. Because if he wouldn't have done what he did yesterday, I bet you we would have won. Or if Connor Wong had a little bit more muscle in him, we would have probably, lost the series, 2 out of 3. And I would have been probably totally okay with that. We would have been 4 games out of the wild card. But still, I think that, Reese McGuire, I just, there's so many questions I want to ask him that, deserved us for the loss, yesterday afternoon, but just awful, awful series. Hopefully we can wake up in the next couple of, games because we are playing mediocre teams, but you never know what may happen.
I agree with that situation. I agree with what you were saying about Connor Wong. I think he needs to pull Pete Alonso during the Derby and hit the weight room just a little bit. If he had a little bit more muscle on that ball probably would have won the game. I could talk about my explanation on that because I was at the game, so I've seen it unfold in person. But I'm going to go around before and talk to everybody, get everybody's opinion before I get to mine. Italy Jet, what do you think about this series, man? Tough sweep for the Blue Jays.
Well, it helps that the Yankees lost too, right? But at the same time, we're back in last place because we didn't win. We're a game now behind the Yankees, and it's just been now it's frustrating. It's very frustrating because we could have won this series if we just went in the trading deadline and got some good players. I do respect Chaim Bloom that he didn't do anything crazy because of all the prospects that we have. I respect that. But if you have a good team, and Devers is saying to all the media in the clubhouse, man, get us some pitching. That's all we need. Pitching. Get us some pitching. And that might turn some things around. That didn't turn anything around. Reese McGuire, what is he thinking? Like, dude, this is fundamentals. Like, this is your everyday job. It's 50-50, though. I think it's on his third base coach and it's on him. It's not only going to be on him. I think it's a 50-50 thing because that's where the communication is not there. And then we could talk about the whole entire team, the way they've been slumping. But the thing is, even when we're getting to the 9th inning, 8th, 7th, we come alive a little bit, but then we're back to just crap again. Something has to change, and now we're back in last place, and we'll just see what happens for now because this is going to be anybody's wild card division now.
I agree. Consistency has been a thing that the Red Sox have struggled with this season, especially during offensively and pitching wise. The Red Sox obviously offensively went quiet in the last game. Noah, what are you thinking about this series?
So I really don't think I have to touch on the third game at all. The game that went down today. Toronto just was better today. The box score kind of says it all. There was no bad moves today. You know what I mean? Toronto just came out ready to play. But I think every Red Sox fan that there was looking forward to this series, right? And then first pitch on Friday happened. And Whit Merrifield sent the ball over the monster. And I remember thinking to myself, that's not good. And then Friday was just, Paxton didn't have his stuff. He was leaving a lot of breaking pitches over the plate, a lot of fastballs over the plate. I think the first 5 pitches he threw, they had 3 runs by the time he threw 5 pitches. So something like that. It was bad. Second game, say what you will. I think that what Italy Jet said goes 50-50, right? Reese McGuire has to know how many outs there are. If there's a deep fly ball to center field, you got to be halfway, right? Because even if that ball gets off the wall, you're going to score, right? So you need to be halfway between second and third there. You need to read it. And on Carlos Febles, you need to be telling him halfway, right? Or you have the best angle on the field. You need to read that, right? Now, I'm not going to go in and I'm not going to criticize bullpen management because we're going to discuss that a little bit later. Should Joe Jakes have been in that game over Kenley Jansen there where they gave up that 5th run? I don't think he should have. But then again, Kenley Jansen really hasn't been good in non-saves. You have to go to your closer, in my opinion, in that scenario, though. So I think there was a real world where the Red Sox could have salvaged that second game in this series. But if you look at today, Toronto had, they sat Vlad Guerrero, they sat Varsho, and they just came out hitting. Murphy didn't have his good stuff. That's kind of all it was. You needed to win this series. You came out, and after that kind of solo home run in the first game, you just kind of were lifeless for the rest of the series.
Tough series indeed. My opinion on this series, it was just a tough series. Entering the series, you had to win the first game, at least, because that's your starting pitcher right there. You have James Paxton, you have 2 bullpen games the next couple days. You got to look at it in that situation. James Paxton didn't have his stuff. Even since the beginning of the game, when Merritt gave up that home run to Merrifield, his stuff, he was getting hit hard. It was like every ab hit, it felt like it was like going 100 miles per hour with no like fake hits with that. Toronto played better that game. Obviously, the Red Sox had a late inning. They tried to come back, and they unfortunately couldn't finish it. I mean, Duran, that home run opposite field, he's been a spark plug for the Red Sox. He's been amazing this year. As in Game 2, that being at the game itself, I honestly thought from my seat, it looked like at Fenway, you think everything's gone. But honestly, on that pitch that was hit, I honestly thought it was a walk-off homer. That ball was smoke from Connor Wong. And I agree, Feblis should not be waving him around. He should know to hold on McGuire. But McGuire, he went halfway and he's like this, putting up the finger. Like he's not even looking back to see where the ball is. He's thinking it's gone. That's a major league error right there, a mind error from Reese McGuire. He should know to go halfway and then tag up. I mean, that's a baseball player move right there. Even as growing up playing baseball, to tag up if a ball's halfway in the air, especially with 1 out. That's the double play that ends the game. It's different with if there was no outs. I mean, yeah, it still sucks, but at least you have another out to go. That's a game-ending double play right there. And obviously, he should have knew he was going to catch that. It's Kevin Kiermaier in center field. He's made amazing defensive plays in the series. That play to end the game, that play at the gate where he went out and ended up hurting his elbow today, that was an amazing play too. He's just one of the best defensive center fielders in Major League Baseball. You definitely need to tag up on that. As for Game 3, it was an ugly game, man. It was just bad, just all around. The pitching sucked. I mean, Joe Vera, he got hit hard very well today. I mean, Bernardino he got hit hard in the first inning, obviously, but didn't give up a run. And then it was just, Chris Murphy looked okay in the beginning when he first was in there, and then it just went downhill. Game 2, same thing. The bullpen. It felt like this was a game where Pivetta. It sucked that Pivetta couldn't go as long as we wanted it to because the bullpen's already deplenished, and that's the one thing about not having a starting pitcher right now or an extra starter. It's kind of hurting the bullpen because a lot of guys are getting worked out when they shouldn't. And to tie into the series, I'm going to go back to Game 2. There was a situation that unfolded. I was going to the game, and the lineup card was out, and all of a sudden, when I got to the game, Alex Verdugo was scratched from the lineup. Initially, nobody knew what it was, and no media person knew. The manager didn't even give an answer. Personally, if I'm Alex Cora, I'd at least given them the media an answer instead of having fans like grabbing for what happened. People think it's a family emergency. Something happened. Obviously, what came out is that he came 2 hours before the game. The Red Sox have a policy where you need to be 4 hours before the game ready to go at Fenway Park. So that kind of sucks. I'm going to go around and hear you guys' opinions on this. Obviously, there's a lot of fans have their takes on this. I'm going to start with Noah and go around. Noah, what do you think about this Alex Verdugo drama situation that's going on in Game 2?
Yeah, obviously, there's a lot to unpack with this. And I think a lot obviously came out of this. At first, we didn't know what happened. And then it kind of came out that Verdugo was in the dugout before first pitch. So it's not a family emergency, then what is it? So I think I was talking to you guys and I said he must have did or said something that made someone really, really mad. And then after the game, it came out that it was a manager's decision. I think he wasn't available because he showed up 2 hours late. And then what I found really, really interesting was that I think it was Chris Cotillo or Ian Brown that actually tweeted from a source inside the clubhouse that someone asked Verdugo if he showed up late. And Verdugo said no. Verdugo said he showed up on time. So really weird stuff going on here. I'm going to put it right out there that I will take the manager's word over Verdugo's word. If there's going to be conflicting reports, I'll trust Alex Cora over the player. I'll trust the manager of the team. But I think the main thing to take away from this is if Alex Verdugo is a toxic teammate, if Alex Verdugo is a guy that just, is all about himself, if this is about a payday, if this is about not having a contract, I think there's close to a 100% chance that he will be moved this offseason. Because personally, I think that's what it kind of was with Bogaerts. Obviously they didn't trade Bogaerts. Obviously they made Bogaerts a pretty decent offer to come back. But I think what it ultimately comes down to is if Verdugo is a toxic teammate, I don't think he'll be back on the team next year. But I guess we could sum all this up by saying if I'm going to believe anyone on this matter, I'm going to believe Alex Cora.
I agree. You always take I think you take the manager's word in that situation. I think the situation with Verdugo, he had a history of obviously this season not showing lack of hustle. Obviously, he got benched for that in that Cleveland series. And I don't know if it's just obviously he's going through a lot personally. I don't know if anybody's seen the reports of what's going on with him and his family right now, but it's a lot for him. So I understand, like, you're going through stuff. It's hard playing the game of baseball. 162 games is a grueling season. But at the same time, if it's him taking out his attitude on his manager, you have to control that. And I think Alex Cora did the right thing, benching him, teaching him a lesson, saying, hey, in that situation, you can't be doing that. And arguably in game 2, he has had he's been the most clutch hitter on the Red Sox. He has 3 walk-offs this season. He's been amazing for the Red Sox in clutch situations. I know he's been struggling with the bat, but if that didn't happen, do you think obviously you think Alex Verdugo could walk that game off? He's had big moments. But yeah, you got to believe Alex Cora in that situation. It's just tough. It's a head scratcher, obviously. And even before the game and after the game, he wasn't given any answers. I think if you're the manager, at least let the fans know, be like, hey, a situation unfolded. I'm not going to open up on what went down, but it was a manager's decision. He kept saying it was a manager's decision. At least open up and explain it. Say, hey, this is my decision to bench him. It's just, I'm not going to explain why. It was just my decision to bench him. At the end of the day, he did something or obviously you don't want to start drama, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's the manager's word, and I'm going to take the manager's word as well, Noah. Italy Jet, what do you think about this Alex Verdugo situation right now?
Nah, I agree with Cora. Everything what Cora has done with the Verdugo situation, even in the past, has always been right. I stand by Cora with everything when it comes to specific players. I know he's like, he's one of those managers that's not really. He's a player manager. That's what he is. He's always been a player manager. But if he's doing something like this and being a player's manager like that, then something's up. I'm a huge fan of Verdugo. He's done well for us the past few years, but I honestly think that this is the tipping point of either Cora is going to get fired after this season, or Verdugo is going to go, or get rid of both. I'm okay with getting rid of both and just move and move on. There's a lot of free agents coming next year. Everything seems like it's sour, even with teammates too. So I think that this is just a tipping point, and it's going to keep getting worse before it gets better.
I agree. You're going to hit the highs of highs and the lows of lows. Dev, let me know how you're thinking about this Alex Verdugo situation. I know it's been an interesting situation that unfolded the past couple days.
It has. I mean, I just think that it's crazy. I mean, like you brought up with the whole Cleveland situation with him not hustling and him with being late to Fenway Park, just because he was 2 hours late, even though they have a 4-hour policy, thing at Fenway Park. I just think that, this whole scenario seems a little bit fishy. And, just Italy Jet said, I wouldn't really be surprised if, because I feel like that could be one of the reasons why, you see a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, re-sign Alex Verdugo, he deserves an extension. But it's just if you think about it in hindsight, does Alex Verdugo really actually does deserve an extension because of this season? With his lack of hustle, his lack of, being late to, the games or whatnot. So, I mean, I to be honest, would miss him if, he does, not sign back with the Red Sox, because, he was a huge part of the, Mookie Betts trade, because no one really heard of him, exactly when, we acquired him from Mookie Betts, saying oh, who's Alex Verdugo? Why couldn't we get, Pollock? Why couldn't we get an actually good outfielder in return? I mean, Verdugo's not a bad outfielder. I mean, he saved a couple home runs. He has some nice throws here and there, and his bat is really good for the Red Sox. But if we lose a key piece like him, then the only trade piece that we have left from the Mookie Betts, trade is Connor Wong. So because we lost Jeter Downs, and now with Alex Verdugo possibly, not signing back with the Red Sox, then it could be a huge loss for the Boston Red Sox come next season. So we'll see how that affairs come the rest of the season.
Yeah, and the good thing about Alex Verdugo's contract right now, he does have another year. He does have in his contract in 2025, he'd be a free agent. So he has one more year of control. Worst case scenario, I wouldn't want to trade Alex Verdugo, but if this becomes a recurring problem, you do have Bobby Dahlbeck in the minors right now who's torching it up in Worcester. You could obviously package him and Verdugo for maybe a major league ready starter. Speaking about the AAA in Worcester, we have some a situation in the infield right now. Obviously, with Trevor Story on his way back by the end of the week, there is a decision that has to be made. Who gets sent down? Who gets DFA between Chang and Arroyo? Speaking about Christian Arroyo, this news broke out today. Christian Arroyo was DFA by the Red Sox a couple days ago, but he didn't claim waivers, nothing. So he accepted his option and he went back down to AAA. So Arroyo's still in the organization. Interesting choice. I know Noah had said something off screen about it. I want to hear his intake a little bit first, but I'm going to start with Dev since I ended with Dev. What do you think about the situation? And now the two between Arroyo and Reyes and Chang and Reyes right now, who are on the major league roster, who do you think gets sent down or DFA'd for Trevor Story?
I mean, man, this is a tough situation for Alex Cora. I mean, who do you really want to send down? Do you really want to send Reyes? Do you want to send Chang? I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they send down Pablo Reyes because it feels like, Chang could be a good utility man, like, that Brock that we've been waiting for. So I think it's going to be Pablo Reyes is going to be the odd man out that gets sent to Worcester for, Trevor Story. I mean, Chang has been a great bat. He's been clutch for us sometimes. He can play first, second, short, maybe even third base, as you saw today, replacing Rafael Devers. But, Chang could be a huge contributor to this, Boston team. Yeah, he's had a few errors here and there, but, that's what happens, for the Red Sox. We have errors. We, take it back. And, it's just going to be really interesting to see if Alex Cora goes with Chang or if he goes with Reyes. If I were him, I go with our, new starting pitcher, Pablo Reyes.
Oh yes, sir. I think I agree with that one. All I'm saying, me and Noah were saying, at the end of the day, Yu Chang is a great clutch hitter at times when he has his moments, but he doesn't have no 0 ERA like Pablo Reyes. Pablo Reyes greater than Shohei Ohtani, just saying. Anyways, I'm gonna go to Noah. What do you think about the situation? Who do you think gets DFA or sent down between Arroyo or not? I keep saying Arroyo because he popped up on the screen. Sorry, because he got sent down to AAA today.
Yeah.
Reyes and Chang.
So obviously when we were talking about these topics yesterday, we didn't know what was going to go on with Arroyo, and we were just kind of assuming that he was gone, right? Because we would assume he was either going to get claimed by some team or he was going to accept free agency, right? So in the world where he doesn't get claimed by a team, there's almost a 95% chance that he accepts free agency. He didn't get claimed. He didn't elect free agency. So now he's in AAA, which definitely kind of shocked me when I heard the news that he was kind of staying in the organization. But now that begs the question. That's one down. There's one to go. Who goes for Trevor Story on Wednesday or Thursday? Is it Pablo Reyes? Is it Yu Chang? My opinion on this has changed over the past couple of days. I personally think that the odd man out for Trevor Story is going to be Yu Chang. I have a couple reasons. I have a couple reasons to think this. I think Yu Chang's bat is subpar, right? You know what you're getting from Yu Chang, right? He's going to give you really good fielding. Better fielding than Pablo Reyes, even though we've seen pretty good fielding for Reyes. But the main thing that leads me to this decision is Pablo Reyes was activated off the IL a week or two ago, right? And he spent all 20 days on his rehab assignment, I'm pretty sure. I think if they were going to get rid of Pablo Reyes, they would have just DFA'd him immediately and not brought him back from the IL. Does that make sense? So in a world, bringing him back kind of tells me they plan to keep him for at least the rest of the year. Because I think if they were going to get rid of him, they wouldn't have brought him back off the IL in the first place, and they would have just DFA'd him right then and there. So that's the reason I think. I'm not saying Yu Chang is a bad player, right? Yu Chang, he's got sneaky pop. Don't throw him a fastball because he's going to hit it out of the park. He plays really good defense. He can give you more flexibility than Reyes. But ultimately, I think the decision is going to be to keep Pablo Reyes just because they want someone who's a little better with the bat and that can play defense, not necessarily too much worse than Chang, but ultimately that can be stable in the middle infield for them.
I agree with that statement. I'm going to go to Italy Jet real quick and what he thinks about this. I know this event. It's either Chang or Reyes. I know he's a big, huge Chang guy, but I need to hear his thoughts, and then we'll go to me, and then we'll go to the next topic.
I wonder who he's going to pick.
You know what? My decision has been changed a lot, too. The last few days, I am with Noah. With the decision, I honestly, I love him.
Wow.
You guys are so you guys so bad. But wait, there's more.
Oh.
Listen. Yu Chang is a great player. We all know what he could do with his bat. You know, we could do with his defense. But honestly, if I'm going to go with either one of them because they're both they both had some significant injuries the last couple months. One was out for a while, and then Reyes was out for a while. But if you're going to go with a guy that plays good defense and one that's showing up a little bit with the bat and that just has overall chemistry in the midfield, and I'm thinking of chemistry with Story again, Endeavors, and even whoever plays at first place. It kills me to say this, but I am going to go with Pablo Reyes. And it hurts.
This is my World Series. Yes.
This
I'm kidding.
hurts so bad. So I really think Yu Chang is going to stick around, though. I don't think he's going to go to another team. I think if he does get DFA'd, I think he'll stay with us. But I think Pablo Reyes, he has been such clutch since we signed him. And no one knew who the heck he was. No one. And now he's a star with us. So, hey,
I think he played for the A's, too.
Yeah,
we got him for the A's.
Yeah, but who cares about the A's? No offense, A's. No offense, A's fans.
Shout out to the A's.
No offense. I hope you go to Vegas. I hope it's a nice stadium for you. Listen, overall, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Before Rob goes, I'm sorry, Rob. The viewers need to know how big that was right there. Italy Jet is the biggest Yu Chang supporter in the world. So just so the viewers know how big, that's the first time we've ever heard him say that too. We've never heard him ever say Reyes over Chang.
I know.
So that is a huge development right there.
It stings so bad.
The only reason why I'm pumping my fist right now is because everybody knows I've been big on Pablo Reyes since the day he came here. I went to his first game as a Red Sox, and since day one. I mean, that one thing I'm not a Yu Chang hater. I love Yu Chang. He's had some big hits earlier in the year against that Angels series, that 3-run homer against the Angels. That we won't forget that. That's the Yu Chang game. That was insanity. On my birthday, how can I forget a game that happened on my birthday? One thing I'm going to say, though, is as of late, maybe it's a lingering injury. Maybe it's just him coming back a little bit late. He just hasn't been able to swing the bat as of late. He had a home run here and there, but that average at 156 is kind of like a shaky situation. If you do have Pablo Reyes, who is, I think, hitting over 300 right now, he gets on base a lot. And, I mean, he's been showing he can do it with the glove a little bit. Made a nice play yesterday in the middle of the infield. Back-to-back plays where Urias made almost an amazing play at second base.
Yeah.
Dustin Pedroia-esque like on that. Just a throw. He needed a bounce maybe. And then Pablo Reyes to dive and catch right after. And I think just Pablo Reyes, I think he's just a guy who's been a spark plug. He's got some good speed, too. I mean, he is a little bit older than Yu Chang, but I think he's one between the two. I would just go with Pablo Reyes, not on the fact that, like, obviously Yu Chang does have flexibility. He can play first base. He went into first base yesterday, too. But if you're going on the situation right now, you're not going to really need someone to play first base when Tristan Casas and Justin Turner can platoon, and then you can put Yoshida at the DH sometime. But if you're going with, I mean, obviously, just having Pablo Reyes as like a defensive substitution or a guy who can plug in at shortstop in case Story needs a day off, that's probably what I would do, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But also, though, what we have to understand, too, is if we're going to pick between Arroyo, Reyes, Chang, and Urias, I'm Urias out of those three.
Yeah,
out of those three, Urias is a no-brainer. You just need a change in scenery, and then he'll be fine.
Also, circling back to Arroyo as well. Sorry to cut you off, Noah. Circling back to Arroyo as well. Like Italy just said, with injury-prone situations from either Chang or Reyes, I think that's another reason why Christian Arroyo opted to go down to AAA and stay with the organization, because he would be the next man up in that situation. I don't think they would call up Bobby Dahlbeck to play second base or shortstop. That experiment is done, thank God. But when it comes to that, Christian Arroyo is a guy who you could have on the bench. He was, I mean, obviously, I remember back in 2022 when he moved to right field. He's a guy who he can even play the outfield. Get that? Not good, but he can't play the outfield.
What was that?
That was a meme. The infamous meme on Christian Arroyo cannot see your teams win. But no, when he lost it against the Yankees. But the thing I'm going to say, he moved to right field to get Trevor Story on this team. He gave up his position at second base to get Trevor Story on the team. And that's a team player right there. And if you get him called up, obviously a bench bat, he's a good guy in the clubhouse too. He brings the energy. He's a good guy to have in that clubhouse. So I just want to say that. What were you going to say, Noah? Sorry to cut you off.
No, I mean, I'll just kind of finish up what we were just talking about here. There's no doubt in my mind that I think Christian Arroyo could be a really good bench bat for this team. I just don't think he's an everyday guy. And I think we've seen that. He's just not an everyday guy. he kind of thrived in that bench role in 21, and even when he was available in 22, because I know he was hurt a little bit. But we're just seeing this the everyday role. I mean, aside from that 5-hit game, that random 5-hit game he had against Minnesota out of nowhere, we're just kind of seeing that he's more of a bench guy than an everyday guy now.
He was looking like a prime Roberto Alomar with the bat that game. I was like, everything he hit, like I think he hit a homer that game too. I think it was a 5-hit game. It was the first time in a long time since the Red Sox had a player had 5 hits in a game. We're going to go to our last topic before we end this episode. We're going to talk about the bullpen management. The Boston Red Sox bullpen management, specifically Alex Cora, has had very head-scratching bullpen decisions. I'm going to start off with Noah, and we're going to go around because I know he's very opinionated on his bullpen management. We're going to start with Noah, and I'm going to go around the table, and we'll end it with me, and then we'll go to the end. Italy Jet will take us out to end the episode, but we're going to start with Noah. What are you thinking about this bullpen management from Alex Cora?
So Alex Cora is a player's manager, and he will be a player's manager until the sun goes down every day, right? But the fact of the matter is, the bullpen management, and not even just this year, over the past few years, has been criminal. Absolutely criminal. I'll start, I could go on all day, but I'll just keep it short. I'll start with looking at a reliever this year in John Schreiber and even Josh Winkowski. Josh Winkowski is debatably the most overworked reliever in baseball this year, and you're seeing it. He's starting to give up more base hits, getting hit around a lot. He doesn't look as dominant as he did in the first couple of months of the season. He was overworked. John Schreiber, this year, not as good as last year. Collapsed at the end of last year. He was overworked. Matt Barnes, 2021, overworked. Collapsed. He's done now. I don't know where Matt Barnes is. Is he in Miami?
Miami. He's in Miami.
Yeah, but we'll talk about this year. And I there are way too many certain games for me to go into. But again, we'll just talk about that Giants series. That was just Kenley Jansen back-to-back days. When he's not good in non-save situations, I don't really get where we're coming from there. And even this game against Toronto the other night, it was 4-3, and he went to Joe Jakes in a 1-run game. Jakes gave up a run. It's 5-3, and they get that run back in the bottom of the ninth. This Red Sox team this year, and I may be going crazy, has been the best performing ninth inning Red Sox team that I can remember. This team scores so many runs in the ninth inning. They play really well in the ninth inning of games. I don't know why you would just go to one of the worst relievers on the roster and Jake's down 1 run and kind of put the game out of reach in that move. So another random example I could think of, that Rays series, using Kenley Jansen twice in a day. I just feel like the bullpen has been so misused. I feel like it needs to be a lot better if the Red Sox kind of want to get somewhere. And I'm not saying that Alex Cora needs to be perfect, right? If he could if he could be about 90-95% accuracy on his moves, fine, I'll take it. If he messes up 1 out of every 10 times, fine. I feel like he's messing up like 5 out of every 10 times right now, and that's got to cut down in my opinion.
I agree. I have a lot to say at the end, but I'm going to say it because I've experienced a lot of the bullpen misuses in person because I've been to a lot of games this year. But I'm going to go to Italy Jet. What are you thinking about this bullpen management from Alex Cora this season and seasons past?
They suck. I mean, what's the point even talk about it even more? The Red Sox bullpen has been sucking for the last few years, and it's not been fun to watch. Kenley Jansen, as Noah's been saying, has been overused. All of them have been overused. And when you put Jansen in a game that is on the line, I don't want to see him out there. You need to build his confidence up. You need to give him an everyday routine schedule. That's why starting pitchers have schedules. Relievers need to have schedules. Everyone needs to have a schedule because we do have talent in this bullpen. We do. But he's not using it right. Cora hasn't been doing this right for even
we're having a little bit of technical difficulty.
The World Series run, remember all that? He just barely got past that. The hitting was the only reason we won that. I mean, you had Pierce, you had Betts. The last few years now has been just a testament of what misuse, even with Pivetta. Like Pivetta, Houck, everyone, start over, man. Get it together. Get it together. Your job's on the line because of this damn bullpen. We can hit. We know we can hit. But, man, figure it out.
I agree. It's been rough. You froze a little bit on my end. I don't know if it was just you in the middle
did
of
I?
it, but
Oh,
yeah, just a
sorry
little
about that.
bit. But we're sorry.
We got your point,
No,
though.
we got your point though. At
though.
the end, we got it all out. Dev, let's hear your thoughts on this bullpen usage from Alex Cora this season and seasons past.
Well, I mean, the difference between last year's and this year's bullpen is that we can actually sort of trust this year's bullpen compared to last year's. When we had Matt Barnes, when we had Brazier, and oh god, what was that? And we had another pitcher that everyone hated. I forget his name. It's going to come back to me soon.
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. But this bullpen, the only guys I can really trust, I guess, some nights is like Schreiber, Chris Martin, and some nights Kenley Jansen. But I don't know why we still have this reliever Joe Jakes. I don't know what Cora seasoned him, putting him in a one-run game. I would have rather see Chris Martin be pitching in the ninth inning. Maybe we would have been tied, and maybe we could have gone to extra innings. I know we're not the best teams in extra innings, but we could have maybe even given them a chance. But no, we had to go to freaking Joe Jakes, to ruin that series, here and there. So, with this bullpen management, it was better than last year's. I'll give, Heim Bloom and, Alex Cora that credit. But, still, we need just a couple more arms here and there. The one move that I'm really excited about is having Garrett Whitlock back in the bullpen where he belongs. I think that he was an okay starter, but we acquired him because of his relief pitching and how well he could shut down 3, 4, and 5 hitters and whatnot, and be like a great 7th, 8th inning guy when we had him a year ago or whatnot. So I'm very excited to see Whitlock back in the bullpen right now, but hopefully the Red Sox just need to wake up bullpen wise and everything else.
I agree.
Dev's, sorry to cut you off, Rob, but Dev, some of the names that you could be thinking of: Hansel Robles, Austin Davis, Jerry
Robles,
Springer.
thank you. Robles, yes, thank you. That's what I was thinking about.
Hansel Robles. If everybody knows me, knows how my situation with Hansel Robles. If you guys, so I'm just gonna get this straight up. If you guys, don't know
everyone in that bullpen you can cut right there,
Mhm.
and I would prefer minor leaguer pitchers than them right now.
I agree. So for people who don't know the context of Hansel Robles, I have a TikTok account. It's right here, same as my Twitter, minus the underscore. I react to the games on the screen, and it's just been sometimes high, sometimes lows. This season, to think about the bullpen management from Alex Cora, opening day is a good example of the ninth inning comeback that could have happened. They were down by a couple of runs. I was at opening day. It's my first ever opening day. The experience is great. If you've never been to Fenway Park, go to Fenway Park for a game. I know Gino. Sorry, Italy Jet. Sorry, slipped up a little bit. It's going to go to Fenway Park. I want to be a little bit personal there. I had to have a personal message to you. My fault. I had to make it personal. He's going to Fenway Park this September, so it's going to be fun. We're all hopefully all going to go, so that would be very fun. But Italy Jet's going to Fenway. If you haven't gone, definitely go. It's a great experience. But
Rob, I am your father.
The experience for me at Fenway, though, not good. But I'm going to explain. The bullpen management has been okay. I mean, he brought in Caleb Ort and Brian Brazier in numerous games that I went to. And then surprisingly, at one of the games, they did good. But yeah, Ryan Brazier also having a renaissance in LA. He's been amazing for the Dodgers. Sub 1 ERA. I don't know.
Renaissance.
All I'm going to say is Mark Pryor works black magic in that bullpen for the Dodgers. I don't know what it is. But yeah, it's been tough bullpen management. I mean, back-to-back games against the Cardinals where he brought in Kenley Jansen. I mean, that first game, I thought it was on lock, blown save. Same thing. He had a 4 or 5. I think he had a 4-run lead in the second game, and he blew the save. And then a couple games that he brought him in non-save situations where he's usually not good. We've seen it in the past. So even with the Dodgers, with the Braves, they brought him in non-save situations, and he's blown the games. There's that. There's Hansel Robles, Matt Andrees. We can go on and on about the bullpen usage. This year, especially with Joe Vera. I mean, Joe Vera coming off of a rough appearance. I mean, I understand he gives them a long leash. That's one thing. And then another thing is you're bringing in, I know it's questionable. I know he's been good recently, but Richard Blyer coming in a close game too, where he's been really struggling as well. That's also why Matt Barnes is in Miami. That's who they traded for, Richard Blyer. But he hasn't been too well. The only very useful guys in this bullpen this year, Winkowski at the beginning of the year, he's doing okay. He's gonna hit hard though. But I would say definitely Chris Martin. Kenley, he's a roller coaster, but usually you can rely on him in the ninth inning with a lead. and also Brennan Bernardino and Nick Pivetta. Those have been your kind of like go-to guys. Bullpen Pivetta has been amazing. Other than that, getting Whitlock back, I'm really excited. I'm indifferent about this. I love Whitlock as a reliever, but if I had to choose between Houck and Whitlock, I'd prefer Houck in the bullpen. But that's just my personal opinion. I think he'll be good in the bullpen.
Boo,
I know
boo.
I have one rare occasion, but I think both of them are great no matter what. And even they also said Chris Sale, when he comes back, he could be a bridge guy too. He might not start right away. He'll be a bridge guy. So that's good to have him in the bullpen as well. We've seen 2018 World Series striking out Manny Machado to end the World Series. So
great.
If he doesn't get hurt.
Worst case scenario, he could be a good. That is true.
If he can stay off the IL.
Jeez.
That
Dude,
is-
if he strikes out someone that gets hurt after that. Jeez.
Or if he's just a nail, you never know.
But yeah, I think the bullpen management could be a lot better. But other than that, I mean, Cora has. I'll just say this right now: with a depleted starting rotation, he has to use the bullpen, and it's a very hard situation to do. I can't blame him. It's the usage could be a little bit better, but at the end of the day, he's working with what he got, and you got to give him props because sometimes it's a hard team to manage. One more thing we want to do before we end this out is also we forgot to mention the week ahead for the Red Sox. They're playing 10 straight games against sub 500 teams. You got the Royals coming into Fenway, who are on a winning streak, by the way, so that should be interesting to see. And then a weekend series against Detroit, and then you're playing Washington. This has to be a stretch of games because after this, the schedule just gets harder. This is a stretch of games that the Red Sox need to take advantage of. I want to hear your predictions. In these 10 games, what do you think the Red Sox record is going to be? I'm going to start. I think the Red Sox are going to go 7-3. I think they can go 7-3. I think they turn it around and put the foot on the pedal. I think that last game lit a fire up under their ass. Let's go with Italy Jet. What do you think their record's going to be in the next 10 games?
6-4. We got to figure out pitching, and we got to figure out what's going to happen when Story comes back. They keep delaying him more and more. I totally understand that they want to be fully healthy, and I get that, but I want to know who's getting DFA'd so we can move on. I just want to move on. I want all of our players back, and then we can see what we got. I'm going 6-4.
6-4. I like that. I like that pick. Noah, what do you think?
I like 6-4 too, to be honest with you. I think the idea of rolling out 4 openers in these 10 games doesn't get me excited. I'm not saying we're gonna win the 6 games that aren't openers and lose the 4 games that are openers, because there's a good chance we'll probably lose a game that's not an opener and probably win a game that is an opener. I think that makes sense. But I like 6-4. I mean, if Story comes back, you're obviously gonna put him at shortstop. Who goes down? Does Justin Turner go to second base? Is he kind of you don't know. I mean, you get Urias. Turner's going to DH. Yoshida plays the outfield. So who starts to sit more? Does Verdugo start to sit more? Or does Duvall start to sit more in the outfield? There's a lot of questions that are going to have to be answered when Story comes back. But I think 6-4 would be a very realistic prediction.
I think that's a good idea. Dev, what are you thinking? Last man up.
I don't know, man. I think I might be optimistic when saying that because I really want this team to make the playoffs, but I'm going to say 8-2. I think that, we made game Orioles and maybe one to the Nationals because, we may look good on paper, but, something could happen. You never know.
I think so too. I think 7-3, 8-2, 6-4. Those are the best things. I'm going to send it to Italy Jet to wrap us up here on this amazing first episode because we got plenty of more to come.
All right, the Dirty Water Red Sox podcast, episode 1. We got Devin, Noah, and Rob. Man, I love that Dirty Water. We want to thank Guy Boston Sports with Grandstand Productions teaming up together. And hey, you can follow everyone on all social media platforms. You can follow Rob, Noah, Devin, and me, Italy Jet. And also big enough with Guy Boston Sports and Grandstand Productions. But all together, boys, we love that dirty water. Good night.
Peace.